Hi everyone. One more round on security. You should be able to define data and information security, identify and define security terminology, and there's quite a bit that we talked about. Security issues, basic defenses, we talked about, a number of pretty straightforward things and some of those tools that allow us to do those defenses. Through data integrity, it's a correct, who gets to see what, and we have to make data available, so we have to manage both of those. Data is concerned where it's stored, when it's moving. Moving seems to be the one most people are worried about, and then during processing. Keep reviewing here. Products and devices. We have firewalls. You've heard of those. There's virus software and other software. You can get software that are firewalls or hardware that are firewalls. There are lots of products out there and different devices to allow us to help secure the data. Probably the most important part are people. People should have procedures they know to follow in terms of security, like do not open links in email. That's a great example. Do not open any links in email. Businesses need to have policies and guidelines, specific rules that people need to follow. Okay, so here's the policy they have to follow, here's the procedure and how they do it. Okay, so I guess this could fall maybe even more so under policies. So we combine hardware, software, protection, and security solutions. So you can think of the P's: products, people, and procedures affect data. In this particular course, our asset was data, but you could think of anything that you want to secure, what threat there is against it, can the threat be carried out, and then what level of vulnerability. Once you know that, then you can determine your risk and whether you want to accept it, mitigate it, or transfer it. If there's an exploit and you're a business, you have to report it. There's all kinds of rules and laws concerning all those things. Actual theft, and when we talked about legal consequences, it's so important to maintain productivity and yet satisfy any legal concerns and also take care of the data. We've talked about this and this already. Identity theft, who you are, remember that's the key. Somebody steal your social security number, it's way more detrimental. If they steal your credit card, you can just cancel that. We talked about that. As long as you're following it each month or each week or whatever. Anyone commit the crime, we talked about those, and I went through that whole attack pattern. From stuff being legal to all of a sudden illegal, next thing somebody's hacked in, and then escalating their rights once they get into the computer. Another podcast to listen to. I'll be curious to read your response. Remember, if these have some offensive language, so if you don't want to listen to this, contact me and we'll have you do a report or look up something on hacking. Alright. How do we take care of access? We determine authentication, And that could be what you know, what you have, what you are. Okay, and sometimes it's a combination of all three of those. Authentication, authorization, once you're authenticated, and it can be determined what you can do, and then we keep track of what you did. All right. Remember the difference between encryption and hashing. You don't undo a hash. Encryption, we encrypt the information, and you could have it encrypted on a hard drive, and then when you need the information, you decrypt it using a key. And we already talked about those algorithms a little bit and so forth. Hashing, once it's hashed, but it's a fixed length. It's a great way to manage passwords. Alright. Hardening equipment, covered that. Businesses need to report when they have an incident, talk to their lawyer, their PR person, etc., on how they're going to manage it. Everywhere nowadays, they need to have a security policy. Any place dealing with any data, they have to explain to the users, to the people that they're collecting the data from, how they're going to manage that data. Okay, who owns it and so forth. And that's everything. That's your insurance company. That's your bank. That's Facebook. That's Google. I read all of Google's, the whole thing. I have not read Facebook's. It's amazing. Okay, even now Microsoft. You know, when you download Windows 10, I didn't read the whole policy, but Microsoft is collecting information in Windows 10 also, so they could better improve their product. Tools, firewalls, we talked about that. Software that can detect if something is in there, spyware protection, virus protection. Wireless should always be protected. You should never run wireless in your home or your small business without understanding what you can do there. Locking things up, passcodes on equipment, on your phone, tablet, and so forth. And again, security policies again. All right, finally, we're here at the end. Privacy issues. See if you can, we talk a little bit about it here on how it can affect a business, how it can affect groups, how it can affect individuals. If you want to, if you're looking for another article, reply all from Gimlet, same place, number 40. Number 40 is about a website called Ripoff Report. Number 40, it's about 30 minutes, 32 or so. But it talks about the different people who had somebody, for some reason, mad at them, filed a report on Ripoff Report, and it's extremely hard to get any information off of Ripoff Report. It's run by one individual, and the story talks about that individual and how he ended up creating a Ripoff Report. It's another way that you can see how the internet affects businesses or groups or individuals, and I think it's really important that we understand nowadays, or be able to pass on to our children and future generations, how are they going to manage the issues that come up with either privacy or just people affecting what we do by the internet, as an example. All right, so that's it.